All right. And,
Ready?
Okay.
Okay, we're recording.
2, 3.
All right. Here we are. Oh, wonderful to see people coming.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon.
Hello.
So good. Wonderful to see you all. Thank you. Oh, good. Good to see you all.
Nice.
We're muting everybody. Just keep it quiet. But we'll be unmuting as it's as you raise your hands and things need to be said. And please use the chat as well. Okay. Wonderful to see you all.
Wow, this is great. This is great.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
So we have people online I can see folks, and I also see some phone numbers popping up. We are just very grateful for you all joining us for this afternoon's community conversation. I'm just waiting for a couple of other people to come in the room. I have the admit button popping up, but if you are happy that spring is on its way, can I just see some smiling faces, please? Because I'm I'm glad to say yes. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Bridget. I'm so glad that the snow is over with. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for my crocuses to start blooming, and I'm ready for spring. We're going to give this a few more seconds. If you're curious about who this is that is talking to you, my name is Donna Jackson. I'll introduce myself in full in just a second, but we're going to give a few more seconds. I see Hannah is entering the room. If you would just take a moment so that we can all just kind of group introduce ourselves. If you could just put your name, where you're from, if you're representing an organization. We're going to utilize a lot of this technology. We're going to utilize the hands raising. We're going to utilize the chat. So we might as well get familiar with it now. So if everybody could just type a quick hello and your name and whether or not you're representing an organization or if you're just here as a community member of Mount Vernon. That would be great. If you're looking to see where the chat is, it's all the way at the bottom of your screen. It's the thing that looks like a little talk bubble. And if you click on it, you'll see that pop up on the right side of your screen. So just take a real quick minute. I'll even put my own name in there because it's always good practice. Practice what you preach, right? Hey, so who do we have in the room? I see Councilwoman Duarte. I see Deacon Cheyenne Lee. I see Malika. Hello, everybody. I see Jasmine Graham. Thank you for joining us. Elizabeth, Casey Motley, Talbert Thomas. How are you? Buzz Riley, very good. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to be mindful of everybody's time. It's 12:06. I see some more people's. Oh, this is great. Hi, Monica. Hello, Hannah. Hello, Wazim. Shane Brooks, who's awesome with community outreach and all things community oriented in Mount Vernon. Hi, Jane. Hi, Kimira McCann, Black Women's Political Caucus. We're very happy to see you here. This is great. Okay, it's 12:07. My name is Donna Jackson. I'm a resident of Mount Vernon. I'm a mom to 2 teenage girls, and I'm engaged and involved with my community. I've lived here for over 40 years, and I'm always looking to try and help build bridges. I had a friend of mine reach out to me who said, the Federated Conservationists of Westchester County, this phenomenal organization. They're doing incredible things all across the county. They're engaging with different audiences. They're helping to connect people to resources, and they really want to try and do some work in Mount Vernon. And so I said, well, what does that mean? I'm curious. I ask a lot of questions. Anybody that knows me knows I ask a lot of questions. What does that mean? Who are these people? Are they folks that we can trust? And they are. They will explain this whole platform a little bit later. But we got together, we had some conversations, and we decided to try and have a group conversation with like-minded people who are looking for quality of life resources, who are looking to improve environmental issues in Mount Vernon. And so that's why we're here today. So I'm going to take a moment now to introduce you all to Ann Jaffe Holmes, who is the program director for the Federated Conservationists of Westchester County. And she's going to give you a little background, and then we'll get into why we're having this conversation. So Ann, please take the floor.
Thank you so much, Donna. And thank you all. You know, Mount Vernon is such a warm and welcoming community. I'm enjoying so much getting to know people. Many of you I've spoken with. I'm looking forward to speaking with all of you eventually. FCWC has been active in Westchester County since 1965. We are a coalition, an umbrella organization of individuals as well as organizations. And our mission is to address and advocate for environmental issues throughout the county, especially with elected officials, city, village, town, county, and state. So a number of years ago, we realized not every community in Westchester County's environmental issues are being addressed. And so we decided to organize an environmental justice conference to bring forward the voices from those communities whose needs were not being met in regard to environmental protection and enhancement. So Mount Vernon participation in that environmental justice conference drew a lot of attention. It was very impressive. So recently, the Westchester Community Foundation approached us and asked us if we would work with the people of Mount Vernon to bring forward your voices to be heard on your city, by your city, which is listening, the county and the state levels, and public and private resources throughout the region. So that's our job. That's what we're doing. That's what we're here to do, is to lift up your voices, to listen to you, and then lift up and amplify your voices, and also to help you further network with each other and build stronger connections within Mount Vernon, and build connections to other municipalities throughout the county. These can be resources, you know, to have all these connections. So that's what we're here to do. And we're starting with these community conversations today and tomorrow to listen to you and hear your concerns, your needs, and your visions. And then we will follow up these two community conversations with you by having gathering and identifying shared goals and action plans. Now, there are a bunch of resource people on this Zoom today, and welcome to all you resource organizations and people. We ask that you just listen today and put in the chat your organization's mission and contact information, so that the people on this Zoom can begin to understand the many services and helpful organizations and companies that are out there to help. Okay, with that, I'd like to step forward with introducing Carol Griffiths, our FCWC secretary, board secretary, who's going to explain about some of the mechanics of how we're going to gather information from you throughout this gathering. Carol?
Thanks so much, Anne. So before we start the conversation, we're going to bring up a short poll, 3 questions with just yes or no answers. And again, this is to gather information from Mount Vernon residents. So if you are not a Mount Vernon resident, please do not answer the poll. Okay, in addition, we will have a more extensive set of questions at the end of this conversation to give the residents a chance to more fully discuss your concerns. There will be a link to that document in the chat, and we will also send the document to all residents that attended this conversation. And then we will send that through email. There will be also an ending poll, again, 3 short questions, yes or no answers at the very end. So please note that the polls and the questions are private. No names are included. You can say what you want. Nobody will know who is saying what. It's just to gather information about this. So right now I'm going to launch the first poll. So if you can all see it, if you are a resident, please answer those 3 first questions with a yes or no. Okay, we're getting some answers coming in.
They're coming in.
Let's go. Here we go.
Nice.
Okay, we'll wait a little while longer. Okay, it's coming in. Oh, great, great. People are answering. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for answering these questions. It's a big help to us. And some of you can see where the answers are. So for the environmental issues important to you as a resident, so far, 12 of the 30 people who have voted all have answered yes, they are important. So this is really important for us to gather this information and to know about this.
And I think it's
Okay, we'll give it
it's
one
also
more
very
minute.
telling, Carol, that question number 2 is a a resounding no about do we believe that environmental issues are being
Right.
addressed adequately? That's very telling.
Okay, so we haven't had more. We've been waiting for a while. We've had 12 people responding. I think we'll wait one more, about 30 more seconds, and then we will end the poll. Maybe even.
Awesome. I think we can end it now, Carol.
Okay. So these are the results, everyone.
Can everybody see these results?
Okay. Do you
It says a
believe that
lot.
are
Yeah,
environmental issues being addressed adequately? Most people say no. In fact, everybody says no. And then 7 out of the 12 people are now currently involved in addressing environmental issues. Maybe we can get the other 5 to do that also.
well, the other
Okay.
5, there's definitely some opportunity to get involved.
Right.
Yeah. That's great.
Okay. Okay, so
So Carol, can you tell us a little bit more about, oh, I'm sorry. Can you
that's okay.
introduce, can you introduce the members of Citizen Tree and maybe talk about that relationship with the Federated Conservationists?
I think Anne is going to, because she's been really more actively involved with them. So Anne?
Great.
Yes, I'm delighted. Thank you so much. It is a great honor to introduce to you all a very inspiring grassroots organization from the heart of Mount Vernon, with whom you'll all be working. Every resident of Mount Vernon is going to end up working with Citizen Tree, I have the feeling. I'd like to introduce Eveline Feldman and Marlene Wertheim, who are the co-chairs of Citizen Tree.
Thank you, Anne. On behalf of Mount Vernon, I would like to thank you, Anne, Carol, and Angelique, Monica, Zira, who are here with us at this juncture. It all actually began 10 years ago. Little did I know when I bought my Mount Vernon home that the former owners weren't just selling, they were fleeing their surroundings. What we thought was our nest egg on a bed of greens was to become a heartbreak. Faced with the eradication of 25 beautiful cedar trees and other amazing trees to be replaced by a parking lot. The background image here, you see what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The parking lot even right up to my lot line. So I was determined to fight. Faced with that, the hard lesson I had to learn in these first 4 years in Mount Vernon was that zoning maps, zoning codes, laws, and the courts yield to the commercial interest with the influence and power. Assets and benefits of trees, not so much a thing, but cars. Ultimately, I received some concessions, but lost the battle. Once I accepted what I couldn't undo, my herring experience became the impetus to work on preventing this from happening to others. I realized that I first needed more constituency, that my dear neighbor on my street, myself, and Henry May just couldn't do it alone. a presentation in 2015 at the Mount Vernon Community Forum, a forum like this very forum here. Although back then it was held in person at the Wartburg. That forum brought together a group of equally concerned citizens giving birth to Citizen Tree. Amazing folks, beautiful Mount Vernon came forward. A mission to revise the existing out-of-date tree ordinance to protect public and private properties with enforcement ability and the means to value and enhance the city's green landscape. The resulting well-researched and crafted tree ordinance by our group went through many changes as we respectfully collaborated with 4 ensuing administrations. Through the last 6 years, Marlene Wertheim is my wonderful co-chair of this group. She should be here too before she got disconnected, but let's make sure she's back in. At the same time, we looked outside to support to a support network of environmental advocates. It was at the Greenberg Nature Center that we came to the attention of FCWC. Up to that point, Mount Vernon wasn't on anyone's radar. And here we were not only facing an important problem, but also providing a solution to it. Together, we can make change. Not sure, Marlene, are you back in? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
You want to take
There
it from
she is.
Yes, finally, I got here. Yes, I of course have to return the compliment to dear Evelyn. You know, we are the perfect complement. Marriages should work so well. All right, so let me continue here. Today, we can proudly announce that the tree ordinance succeeded with a 5-to-1 vote of the City Council, and that we regained our Arbor Day Foundation Tree City USA designation, and that we are now in the process of planning for our first community planting on April 30th. So put that on your calendar. Details are going to follow, as will a whole series of other plantings in the future. This is not a policing instrument, but a guide to help educate the community and administration about our tree assets, to set up tree-related programs and plantings, to help the city qualify for special related grants, and to provide a useful tool for land use boards when they review new proposals that shape our city. We see this as a work in progress as we strive to implement it. The instrument to fulfilling much of the tree ordinance objectives is the Tree Advisory Board. That's to consist of a representative from the planning department, the city arborist, and 3 citizens. The city's eager to fill the citizens' positions soon, and is inviting those who are interested to submit an introductory letter, along with a resume to the Mount Vernon City Clerk, William Holmes. We're going to put the connect to on the chat. This is an opportunity to be part of an important city initiative. It's an outgrowth of citizens and government and environmental advocates working together to enrich the quality of life and create a future healthier green Mount Vernon. So if you wish to contact us, we're also putting on our link. So that's it for now. Okay.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. If you have any questions for Evelyn and for Marlene, please put them in the chat. I'm just grateful. In the interest of full disclosure, I am the daughter of Henry May, and this has been a long fight, and he has shown up as have the rest of Citizen Tree. And even for myself, and I'm a diehard Mount Vernonite. I love its history. I'm constantly, waving the Mount Vernon flag. But even myself, I was like, my God, this seems like a struggle that just, is so hard fought, and it really shouldn't be. And so I'm glad to see that the ordinance is in place, and I'm happy to know that there is so much opportunity now moving forward for the greening of Mount Vernon, and this is just the beginning. And so this conversation is going to move a little deeper into that. I would actually like to introduce, I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit, but I would like to introduce Ms. Angelie Southoff. And she and I are going to, ask a couple of questions. And this is the part where we all get to unmute and unmic and, mic up and speak up and speak out about what's important to us in regards to environmental issues, in regards to health and wellness from the environmental lens. So Angelie, could you introduce yourself to the crowd that we have today?
Thank you, Donna, and thank you, Evelyn and Marlene, for that wonderful example of what we hope to cultivate and accomplish more of. My name is Angelie Southoff, and I'm an environmental health scientist, working currently with FCWC on projects related to climate change and public health and environmental health, trying to draw the connections, which is what we're hoping to do in this conversation. So it's meant to be very dynamic. Don't be shy, unmute. We want to hear from you. We're all living through this COVID-19 pandemic, which has put a spotlight on the sources of strength as well as weaknesses in our everyday lives, our institutions, and our systems. It's forced us to think about clean air, having enough food, quality education, and job security. And it's made very clear that our health is intertwined with the health of our surroundings. So today we'd like to more closely examine that connection between our health and the health of our environment and how these connections can be strengthened. As I mentioned, our primary purpose is to hear from you and to try to connect the health and wellness of individual lives with the health and wellness of the community. We know that urban areas are being particularly hard hit by the COVID-19 crisis, but it's a unique time. It's a unique moment in time that's different from any other in our lifetimes. It's clearly exposing things, and it also makes it a time to think about our priorities and imagine how to restructure, rebuild at a time when more people are listening. So we'd like to start by focusing on health and what we mean by health. We want to ask how you think about health for you and your family. So if you're feeling healthy today, what kind of things do you do that support a healthy lifestyle? Or if you or somebody in your family is unwell today or has a chronic condition, what do you think can be helpful? We'd love to hear from you. How do you think about health when you think about your family's health? Anybody?
So is there anybody brave want to go first?
Yeah, I could go first.
Awesome.
Peter Lindroth will save the sound, but how about I just talk from a personal perspective? During the pandemic, it's really easy, I think, for some of us just to get cooped up inside and just be inside. Or wow, if I didn't have a dog, maybe I wouldn't have been outside for 2 or 3 days, and getting out and getting some sun, Donna, like you mentioned. I mean, taking advantage of nice weather when we can and having those spaces to go to, I know is important to me, and getting outside, and just soaking it in now and then, and not just getting so locked up on this is a great call, don't get me wrong, getting locked up on the Zoom meeting and just forgetting to take a break and walk around outside every day.
Mm-hmm. I think it's exposing also connections between our mental health and physical health and surroundings. Kind of on a related note, how can we think about health for our communities and the city of Mount Vernon? Our communities can be defined as, churches, school communities, our neighborhood blocks. And so when we're thinking about health, how are we connecting our own health to the health around us? What kind of characteristics define a healthy city to everybody? Trees, Evelyn has mentioned. What else?
So I'll be brave. I am also a member of Sierra Club, and we take kids out into the wilderness. We take them out so that they can see a tree, hug a tree, see fresh running water and stuff like that. I think it's a little troubling that, Mount Vernon is becoming short on green spaces where we can just kind of go and sit and relax. Hartley Park is one of the few remaining green spaces that, by deed is not supposed to be developed upon. But where are some of the other places that you can, take a walk and sit under a tree and, relax? I'd love to hear from some other Mount Vernonites if they have something else to say, but I think a walkable city and a place where you can actually go and garden and be involved is very important to me as a Mount Vernonite.
So Donna, I'll follow your lead. This is Buzz Riley. I'm a new Mount Vernonite. I've lived here for 5 years, going on 6 years now.
Welcome.
And absolutely love this city. And as an architect that is focused on interior architecture, one of the things that has become very prevalent in our profession is related to well certification, to fit well. And it's a big, large, encompassing concept. It goes beyond the physical health to the mental and emotional health. And I think what we have seen in the past year in the pandemic, I'm sure you've all read that the incidences of suicide have increased. There has been a tremendous amount of focus on depression and mental anguish around this. So to your point, Donna, of having the green spaces to be able to go to, it's also an opportunity for us to do something we have not, that I personally have missed so much in the past year, and that's having that people-to-people connection to be able to strengthen ourselves emotionally and mentally, to be connected to the people around us. I have spent the past year personally trying to find the positive things that have come out of the pandemic, and one of those is, being a relatively new Mount Vernonite, I have had the chance to get to know people in my neighborhood that I might not have gotten to know in 20 years. It gave us a chance to connect, and it made me realize how very important it is we need to focus on that, not fall back into our commutations, back into the city as I do, and remember that what makes our community are the people around us. And that health is so very important, not only to our individual health, to our neighborhood's health, but to our city's health. And I'm going to stop rambling, sorry.
I love it. Thank you, Buzz.
Yes.
Well, what I've done during this pandemic is spent a lot more time in Wilson Woods Park. What is helpful for me and healthy for me is to be around nature, especially around water. And so I make sure that my calendar is not that crazy. I make sure that I take time out for lunch on my calendar. And sometimes I drive to Wilson Wood Park. Sometimes I walk to Wilson Wood Park. I'm also a psychotherapist. And so sometimes I'll take my laptop there and I'll conduct my sessions in the park with my clients. And I find that when I'm in the park, I feel much more relaxed. I don't feel as stressed. I feel connected with the earth. And that helps to heal me as I give a lot of myself. My church has been open the entire time of the pandemic. We had services outside in the beginning, and then we closed for that. And we would just have services via Spotify. So, I've been going the whole time. And so the earth, connecting with the earth and the water has been very, very helpful to me.
So both of you have mentioned important connections, right? Both with people and the possibility of running into people. Buzz, was that walking around your neighborhood that allowed you to connect with people, or was it certain locations that would allow you to connect with people during this time?
It was primarily in my neighborhood. I'm on the north side of Mount Vernon in Hunts Woods, and a lot of dogs up here, a lot of new dogs up here. And so you have that chance to get out and meet people that way. But, you know, I go into Fleetwood quite often, and, you know, it's after a while, you start to see the same faces, and you pick up a conversation, and you start to feel that connection. And it's the frequency of doing it, I think, that has increased that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Are there other places that some of the residents of Mount Vernon on this call have recognized as places that are frequently visited by people? Where, sorry, what's happening? Where connections are kind of cultivated, physical locations. Wilson Woods, you mentioned, where one can connect with nature as well as other people walking around in the neighborhood. I'm wondering about other locations, other places that allow for that kind of meeting.
And Shelley, I would like to just add something here, if I may. Cheyenne, with your love of Wilson's Woods, which I know many people in Mount Vernon share, there is another organization, the Westchester Parks Foundation, that oversees all the county parks, the programming, and they're always planning activities. So I hope you and all of you will stay on the alert to the announcements that come out, because you can participate in keeping that park something special.
Thank you, Marlene. Peter, Peter Linderoth, you
I
had your
did. You
hand
called
up.
on me. Thank you. I don't think I've
Okay.
ever used that function, but I can talk a lot, and I wanted to let everyone else get in and talk, but maybe I can put my Save the Sound hat on real quick. So I work with Save the Sound, and we focus on protecting and restoring Long Island Sound and its watershed as a whole, but we have been doing a lot of work in Mount Vernon and connecting with residents, and water came up, so I had to at least jump in for a second here. Wilson Woods Park is beautiful. We recently had field teams out with the Boys and Girls Club, an environmental club in the Mount Vernon Boys and Girls Club, where we did a river walk up the Hutchinson River from Target up to Wilson Woods Park. And water is so important, and Mount Vernon's bordered by the Bronx River and the Hutchinson River, correct? So you have these two corridors of waterways, and they're upper kind of sections of the rivers, and they're actually beautiful. There's segments that certainly are hardened, and they're not as beautiful, right? But there are sections of that river that were just, frankly, really beautiful. And it was fun connecting these kids, young adults, I should say, high school, to the river. And one of the things that they really enjoyed was just walking up the river, taking in the wildlife. But we made it all the way to Wilson Woods Park. And if I can just quickly say something that's on our mind, I think some of the people on this call know the city of Mount Vernon's involved with a lawsuit with the Department of Justice related to Clean Water Act. I won't go into that in great detail, but there's probably going to be some funds available, and we're advocating that Mount Vernon is going to pay fines. I'm not saying we're advocating for the fines, but as part of that settlement, we'd love to see those funds go back to the community, go back to the residents of Mount Vernon. And some of the projects we're proposing include pocket parks, open space, maybe having a trail that connects, that section of the Hutchinson River all the way to Wilson Woods. It looks like there's a kind of patchwork of trails in place already. So Farrell and Beechwood, for example, there's a public access point that maybe could get cleaned up with the Boys and Girls Club and local residents. The trail that goes to Wilson Woods Park from there, it's gotten overgrown and some large trees have fallen. So maybe the city can get involved and we can clear that trail all the way to Wilson Woods. Benefits to the river, certainly, by restoring the riparian buffer, but benefits to the community too, connecting us, you all. And I don't live in Mount Vernon, but I've spent a fair amount of time on the water and ground there now, and just connecting us all to good walkways. And I think that's touching up to some things that people were talking about. And then I'll shut up in a second, but I also wanted to mention, as part of that, we do a lot of water quality monitoring in the Hutchinson River, and we'd love to engage more residents. If anyone on this call is interested, we train citizen scientists to come out and collect samples with us for bacteria, oxygen, all sorts of other things. So please get in touch. We think that some of these funds can go towards additional sampling. Our team was out with the DPW staff helping with some track down work on their stormwater system just last week, actually. And we'd love to see some more green infrastructure with those funds too. So rain gardens and such, maybe in this pocket park. So I had to get that out because I wanted to get it out. Now I'm gonna be quiet. I could take questions, and I'd love to hear more. This is really helpful, just hearing from residents too on, what you love about your city, the water, the parks, et cetera. And we'd love to work with, we already work, of course, with Federated Westchester, but anyone else that wants to engage with us, we're happy to partner and collaborate with.
Peter, I'm gonna jump in really quickly and just say I have a group of Girl Scouts, Peter, that would love to get trained on that. You know, the water
Good.
testing and stuff like that. And Cheyenne, I'm also in Wilson Woods too. You might see me and my kids. We put our hammocks up in the trees and hang out there. Kimira McCann from the Westchester Black Women's Political Caucus. Did you wanna chime in just a bit? Is Kimira still here?
Yeah, Kamira's here, right?
Hey.
Kamira, can you speak up or?
Oh, you're muted. Let's see.
Sorry, I'm
There you
at
go.
work.
There you go.
I
Good.
apologize. How are you? So I did answer.
Oh, your connection's a little.
And Anne wrote me in the chat. It's kind of long one. Can you hear me now a little bit?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So I was saying Anne wrote me in the chat and it's a little long-winded. So
Not at all. It's a great answer. I think people need to hear it from you. Okay. Please.
Okay. I was just saying that I'd appreciate, so I'm originally from upstate. I'm new Mount Vernonite. So I've been here now for 3 or 4 years now. And I love Westchester, I truly do, especially Mount Vernon. That's my home of homes. But I was just saying, I would appreciate if we had like a walkable town that leads to a community garden to teach those about our food, earth, and community. Maybe everyone who isn't afforded the chance to go to camp or be in the presence of knowledgeable people to teach not just the youth, but the mature residents of how to nurture not only our bodies, but the home around us. So I know that I've been in rooms with our mayor, Howard Patterson, and she's mentioned how some people care about the north side more than the south side. And that's because maybe people are not knowledgeable about what they can do for their side of town. You know, you don't see everyone just going out like, I believe, I think it's Evelyn. Is that correct? You had said earlier that, you know, it takes more than just you and your neighbor to clean up and to do things. So I believe if it's more people maybe making a conscious effort, or maybe even just putting something there that says like, hey, this is what we do in this area. So when everyone comes here, this is what we do. So maybe, I don't know, just something that makes someone come to it, like even a clean bench, and then you start something around it. So that was pretty much it. It wasn't too much.
Yes, or taking walks together. We did a couple of years back an appreciation walk in Wilson's Woods to exchange stories of the certain areas in the park, and it was amazing. You
right.
Much from sharing your appreciation of things. I'm envisioning making walkable paths throughout the whole city with historical buildings.
That's good.
All of that stuff, but we also do need to pay attention to pedestrian crossings. Right
yes.
now, pay attention to parking lots, more parking lots, new parking lots.
Right,
but,
I know.
But we don't capitalize on the proximity for pedestrians. We have so many train stations, and not more attention is being contributed into the experience of the pedestrian alone.
Mm-hmm.
So by us starting to walk, we're gonna lay down.
Yes.
Well,
instead of just the bike path. I love the bike path, but I'm not really a biker.
Well, and being outdoors, particularly right now, is one of the safe things that people can do, right? They can connect outdoors, and it's led to a new appreciation. I wonder, there are so many conversations about what's going to last and how people want to rebuild and recover. What will be carried on forward beyond the pandemic, and what will be left behind. And it sounds like a lot of people have grown in appreciation for being outdoors. And this is an interesting concept we have in the county maps on open space. And it might be interesting, it sounds from what people are saying that it could be interesting to even have a giant map that people can mark up, knowing their neighborhoods. Where could a walkable path be put? Where
Right.
could a little pocket garden be planted? You know, where could even a bench be put in a
Right.
little piece of green? And then things grow from around that when people have places to gather, as Buzz mentioned and Diane mentioned, right? Places to gather and sit and chat outside and appreciate what's around them. So these are the kind of ideas that we want
Yeah.
to keep growing.
That's a great, that would be a great idea, a green map,
Mhm.
you know.
And that green map, we should make sure to implement that into the works of our comprehensive plan, which is so long longed for. And with this new knowledge after the pandemic, there is a lot of changes we need to implement.
Definitely. We need Donna and Anjali Talbert and Jane both have their hands raised. This is great.
Yes. Jane, would you, I think I saw your hand first.
Yes, thank you. I was just, what Peter had to say really resonated with me because, you know, he's correct. We have great water resources here. We are bordered by 2 rivers. And you can see my profile picture is from Wilson's Woods Park. It's the waterfall on the Hutchinson River at Pelham Lake within the park. And it's one of my favorite places. And you know, the Hutchinson River to me is a neglected waterway. It does not have a county level advisory board, as does the Bronx River. I think Save the Sound is getting ready to do some work with the Hutchinson River with an incoming grant. But my other thought was that you may not be aware that a couple of years ago, there was an environmental study. It was called Canal Village, and it was about revitalizing that whole area, the old industrial area in the farthest south portion of the city, around Target and those environs. And part of the plan was to reconnect these various pieces of what used to actually be a Hutchinson River walk.
Yep.
And to once again create a Riverwalk Greenway that would be walkable from the Target area all the way up to Wilson's Woods Park. And I have a copy of that study and we'll be happy to share it with anyone who wants it.
If I could quick, thank you for queuing me up. So I don't have my hand raised, but we are funded, you're right, Jane, by the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation to develop a Hutchinson River watershed plan for the Westchester portion of the river. And that's going to ID projects that can enhance the river, but also issues that need to be addressed. It's a big stakeholder process. So I hope maybe we can reach out to everyone on this call in addition to all the other people that need to get engaged. So I'll follow up with that. Thank you for pointing that out.
Albert, you've been waiting so patiently.
Yeah, thank you. And let me thank everyone, all the principals who worked together to bring this forum together. I think this is excellent opportunity for us to communicate here in Mount Vernon. My particular focus is more local. I'm really focused on my local neighborhood. I'm a long-term Mount Vernonite resident, and I've been at my particular residence for over 42 years. We used to be a tree-lined street. It used to be pleasant to get up in the morning and walk a couple of blocks and to smell the freshness of the air, to take advantage of the shade during the height of a sunlit day. It was nice to walk to what we consider to be a communal neighborhood green spot, which we call Stuyvesant Plaza. It had great trees, they were magnificent. It was just nice to take a 3 or 4 block walk over to that area to meet other people as they strolled out. Those things have deteriorated. So I'm concerned right now with restoration and preservation. We need to get our trees back. Mm-hmm. What I call the 3 great trees that were directly bordering my particular residents, they have all been cut down over the 40 years I've been here. They haven't been replaced. There hasn't been any discussion about replacing them. We have a major thoroughfare, the Cross County Parkway, that runs parallel to our situation. The trees were more robust when I first got here. Those trees have deteriorated. Obviously, I think they're suffering from the pollution of the Cross County Parkway. The traffic has increased. I don't think anyone could have imagined when they put that particular thoroughfare up, the traffic that would be coming through. There's noise pollution that comes with it. We're captives by that. I know it must be, although I don't know of any study to look to. I don't know whether one has been done. I know the air quality here has to be terribly compromised from what it was 40 years ago. Right. So I'm concerned about those things. Mm-hmm. You know, we have a Stuyvesant Plaza that is a potentially great communal place. We have one stone bench that has deteriorated a great deal. We have trees that have been cut down again and have not been replaced. They have suffered storm damages. They've fallen into neighbors' homes and they've had to be repaired. The preservation of the green space does not seem to be a priority. The other piece is that our neighbors are not engaged. There is not an engagement mechanism for them. We used to be a community of neighborhoods, and that has been compromised. And I like the big organizations and people connecting outside of the situations, but our neighborhoods are lost. We don't know each other. I just rebooted, I shouldn't say I participated in rebooting our neighborhood association with some concerned residents. Come to find out, some of us have been living here 40 years, shoulder to shoulder, and we've never met each other. And my thought is, how can we continue on that basis? How can green space initiatives, how can conservation initiatives serve as a platform to bring us together? We have to be communities again. And so I'm just looking at the local level. I like the waterway piece. I go to Wilson's Woods occasionally. All those things are great. And I know that I can drive. So the other places I go sometimes for to commune with nature. So I go other places. I have that facility. But the idea of waking up every day and being a part of the nature of my community is a must. And we will keep to that. That's the direction I feel that I and my neighbors will push for. What is happening in our local neighborhood? What can we do? How can we enhance the situation on our block right here?
And Talbert, that there are so many co-benefits of even a little neighborhood park like that, right? There's personal connection, there's connection to the soil, to clean air, to potentially growing food, so many co-benefits to something that seems to be so simple, right? And I wonder, when you describe that neglected park, how many other places like that do you think exist in Mount Vernon across the different neighborhoods? I'm not necessarily looking for a number, but it is something to think about, right? It was once very vital and strong, and I wonder what it would take to bring that back and where else that can be done, right? It's a way to connect people. It's so important. And I don't think that isolation and not knowing your neighbor who's been there for 40 years is limited to Mount Vernon, but it can certainly enhance any place, right? So I am curious to know if other people have kind of similarly noticed, similar situations in little parks or green spaces in their neighborhoods that have deteriorated.
As one of Talbert's not so very close neighbors, Talbert, this is Buzz. I live in Huntswood. My dog has dragged me over all around this part of town, and I have had the opportunity to go through your neighborhood, which is beautiful. And I love that median parkway. I think I wish that that bench that faces 22 was a nicer place to sit, because I would love to do something like that. But I think one of the things that you said is very important, extremely important, and that is the connectivity of the neighborhoods. We need to be talking. We need to be talking about what is happening in our immediate area and in adjacent areas, because we all have an impact on each other.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just wanted to say a quick hello and a shout out to our county legislator, Tyree Woodson Samuels. If you wanted to just unmute and just say hello really quickly.
Sure. Thank you so much, Donna. Hello, everybody. Hello, Paul. Thank you again for sending me the link last second. Sorry for my tardiness. I was actually on a committee meeting at the Board of Legislators. So happy to be here. Happy to be a part of this discussion. Something I'm running on is the Mount Vernon Green New Deal, where we focus on wind, solar, turbine energy sources. And so I'm happy to be amongst like-minded individuals. So thank you, and happy to be here.
Thank you. Dwayne Norris has an incredible question, and I'm going to read it out. He says, whoops, and then my chat just went crazy. Would anybody be able to share what is the biggest environmental issue or threat or challenge facing Mount Vernon currently? Anybody want to?
I'm going to go with Talbert and say the cars, the Cross County Parkway, even the traffic within the surface streets of Mount Vernon. I think that.
Yeah, no, continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just going to say, I think that that is the one thing that has the greatest impact, not only on our individual human health, but on on nature.
I'm going to add to it and say that the clear cutting of trees, I understand the need to raise the bridge at Lincoln Avenue going into Pelham, but the fact that all of those trees, those old growth trees, were just, cut down, and it'll take hundreds of years for them to grow back, and who knows what that area will look like. But that entrance into that Wilson Woods area with those, it'll never be the same. So I think just not being aware of those kinds of environmental impacts that are coming, whether it's a county project or a local project, is disturbing to me.
Hey, I just wanted to chime in real quick. It sounds like we're getting a lot of North Side statements, but the South Side, who more than often is about 7 to 10 degrees hotter than the North Side because of the lack of trees and green space. And there's a lot of low-income families, a lot of underlying health issues regarding asthma and all that stuff. So I just wanted to speak up for the South Side of the city.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate you for doing that.
Yeah, and we did invite a lot of people and entities from the South Side. Tomorrow there might be more, Shane, so I hope you can jump on again tomorrow. But we need more outreach there. I agree. I mean, we agree. We see that. Thank you.
How could we invite some of the neighborhood associations? How can we become more aware? It kind of leads to one of the questions that we were interested in, because the community aspect is so critical. We are very interested in trying to understand whether there are people who should be part of this forum who we may not have been able to reach.
Right. And not just the adults. We're looking for those youth voices too. We did reach out to some of the schools. Today is a little difficult. It's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The kids are, still in class. So we understand that. But tomorrow is tomorrow we're having our second community conversation. You're all invited back. You don't just have to just attend one. We want to lift and amplify all voices. So if you know of a young person whose voice is not represented here in this 12 o'clock call, please invite them to come, whether it's a youth group or camp or, just a kid in your house, we want to hear their voices too. So.
I certainly will pass on this information to Father Sabuni, who is the Episcopal priest at St. John Paul and Clemens on the south side, and Father Taylor, who's the Episcopal priest at Church of Ascension on Park Avenue on his side. So, you know, I think you'll get a lot of youth and other people involved with them as well.
Thank you so much for that. Carol Griffiths dropped the link to the document for, there's a Google document. Carol, do you want to unmute and just talk about this Google document for a second?
I can. I think I'm not unmuted.
There you
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to have the second ending poll also in a minute. But the Google Doc, there's a link in there. It has a whole bunch of questions. You can just hit that link and you can go and answer the questions now, or we will also send you through email a version of this. And this will give you ample opportunity to discuss in some detail your concerns about Mount Vernon. Okay, I'm going to start the second poll now. Again,
Sure.
3 short questions, and then we can, okay, let's see. This is the second poll coming up. So please, if you are a Mount Vernon resident only, please answer
You
these
integrated
questions.
saving things. We save money, save seed.
Uh-oh.
Can you all see the poll?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, people are starting to answer. Thank you. Okay, we'll give you a minute or so to answer. Again, this is for Mount Vernon residents only because we really want, this is for you. This is for you to address your concerns. And again, please go to that Google Doc or answer it when we email you the questions. Okay, we have 11. We had 12 answering the first. We have 12 so
12.
far answering the second. Maybe we'll have another 1 or 2. Probably not. Maybe we should just end it here.
Yep. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay, and we're sharing the results. These are the results of the poll. Okay, and it looks like all of you are interested in attending the next community conversation. It looks like you are all interested in engaging with your community to address environmental issues. And you're all indicating that environmental issues do affect people's health. So thank you so much. And again, please go to that doc.
Yep, the link is in the chat.
Yeah, the link is in the chat. Do the second link. The first one has a little slanted thing at the end, so it's not going to work. So go to the second doc link. Okay, and we're going to stop sharing this. Great. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So we want to be respectful of people's time. It is 1 o'clock. We are going to close this conversation out, but please, by all means, if you would like to come back for tomorrow's conversation, it'll be at 6:30 in the evening. It'll probably be a lot more people because it's not, in the middle of the workday. If there is somebody who is not at the table, who needs to be at this table, whose voice we need to hear, north side, south side, east side, west side, borderline Bronx, please invite them to come on out. We want to amplify everybody's voices. We want to create some synergies here, and we want to connect. Like Talbert said, it's important for us to get to know our neighbors, and like Buzz said, it's important for us to connect and get to know each other. And there's strength in numbers. That's my speech. There's definitely strength in numbers.
Good speech.
So
Great speech, Donna.
Thank you, Donna. And registration for tomorrow night will be open until we'll keep it open till 3 o'clock tomorrow. Okay.
Yep.
So I urge people to, thank you for that, Donna, and Shane, maybe you knew some people you want to try to get there, right? Thank you all.
And are we going to share contact? The chat was really lively.
Yes.
I mentioned some things, people mentioned some things I'd love to follow up on. I put my contact in there. I think Malika's is as well. Are we going to be sharing everyone's contact after this meeting?
Yes, we will. We will share everyone's contact. We will share the chat. We're recording it, and we're going to share the recording of the program. We're also going to share any resource things that come into me, or into FCWC, all right?
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
That.
Thank you for
Bet.
organizing this.
And tomorrow will be a whole nother set of sharing, right? And you'll probably
Absolutely.
all be interested in whatever comes in tomorrow, whether or not you can be on. You'll want to know what goes on tomorrow, right? So we'll do a giant sharing.
Awesome.
Thank you so much,
much.
everyone. This has been incredible. Really glad to hear from everyone on what issues you're facing. And I did put my number and all my contact info in the chat, but I'm Jasmine Graham. I work for Sustainable Westchester, and I'm leading an environmental justice project right now. So I want to make sure that we are serving the most vulnerable communities among us, that we are, reversing the historical impacts of disenfranchisement and marginalization. So we really want to create impactful solutions. So really grateful to be here. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're going to work with Jasmine on some community clean energy education, clean energy to get that air quality back up.
Exactly.
Nice.
Mhm.
And the kids at the STEAM high school, Jasmine, might be interested in that. We have a whole brand new science academy here in
Yes.
Mount Vernon. So, if we need to connect them, let's absolutely do that.
Definitely. I would love that.
Regarding clean energy, you may want to bring in Aris Wind, a company located right here in Mount Vernon on 6th Avenue, who has wind turbines that generate energy.
Yeah, we are open to any and all suggestions, comments, and in this project, we really want to hear from you about what you need, but also what you want. Too much of what we do is just about necessities, and we also want you to have just things that you want, things that you desire, and we want the solutions to be a reflection of what you all actually identify that you want. So. Again, my contact info is in the chat, but it's just Jasmine at sustainablewestchester.org. I'm really happy to connect with anyone further.
Thank you for that, everyone.
Awesome.
So Donna will, I guess you want to close us through this, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there is another link. There is an Eventbrite link if you would like to send that out and invite people to come to the 6:30 conversation that's going to happen tomorrow, March 11th. We'll be having the same kind of conversation. So, if there's some issues that come up that you forgot to, put in the chat and put in the link or express here, there's another opportunity for that. And these conversations will be ongoing, and it is our goal to build upon them. This is not kind of a one-off, thanks, we heard you and we're gone. This is a sustainable effort to bring change to Mount Vernon. So I am very grateful as a resident and a daughter of this city. I'm very grateful for you being here. Thank you very much to the Federated Conservationists of Westchester County for leading the charge and being a part of this. Thank you, Citizen Tree, for all of the work that you have put in. I know this sounds like some kind of final thing. It's not goodbye. It's see you tomorrow. So thank you very much. And that ends the session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. This was great. I'll resend the link to everybody, Donna. Today's people and tomorrow's people. I'll resend the registration for tomorrow and the Zoom.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wonderful, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
See you tomorrow.
all so much.
See you tomorrow.
Great conversation. Thank you. Super.
So do I send my notes to you, Ann, or I took a lot of notes, or?
Sure, that'd be great. I'll share them with the planning committee and everything. Thank you, Paul. Glad
No
you were on.
problem.
It was a